So my name is Jeff Martens. I'm the founder and CEO of CPUsage. And CPUsage harnesses the unused processing power of idle computers. And then we're using all that capacity to build an infrastructure as a service for high performance and high throughput computing. Yeah, so the computing power comes from a variety of sources. The first one is just from your home computer, just like you and I have at home. That's very similar to the steady at home or folding at home model where you volunteer your computer and it gets used for something else. We're slightly different in that we pay you for that compute time. We don't expect you just to give it to us for nothing. The second source of computers comes from organizations. So we found a great opportunity with school districts, for example. So the Portland Public Schools have about 46,000 students, last I checked, 16,000 computers, and 10,000 of them would be appropriate to run on the CPUsage grid. And just round numbers, that could mean maybe $1 million a year in revenue to the district. Yeah, so what we do is we use your unused processing power. So essentially when your computer's idle, we can harness that processing power. Users of CPUsage will not notice their computer slowing down, and that's for two reasons. So first of all, we use your unused processing power. So when your computer's sitting completely idle and it's on, why not let us rent that processing power from you? So you're away from your computer and inherently you're not going to notice. Right now, we do harness some processing power even when you are using your computer, and that's on in certain cases, because the average computer user only uses about 5% of their CPU power. So if you're just browsing the web and reading your favorite blog like Silicon Florist, you might only be using 1 or 2% of your CPU. So why not let us use another 20 or 30% of that? And if that's the case, you still absolutely will not notice it. If you do something where your CPU utilization spikes, we then stop processing and give your computer back to you completely. The ideal company that would use CPUsage is somebody in an industry like life sciences, where they're doing DNA analysis and maybe they have to run many different simulations to do an analysis. We spoke with one researcher that had to do 200,000 different simulations of 5 gene mutations each, and that took an entire month of 24/7 processing power on 16 different servers. So they would come to us, and simply by using more resources, we could get that done in 3 days rather than 30 days. So the most important thing for CPUsage has been a great founding team. So I'd been playing around with this idea in my head for a couple years, and I've also worked on some other projects in the past. And one thing that I learned is that team is everything, and I also learned that I don't know how to do everything. So from day one with CPUsage, I said I need to find smart co-founders, particularly people that are smarter than me. And I'm one of 3 co-founders now, and I can honestly tell you that my co-founders are smarter than me, and that's the reason that this company works, is because I haven't tried to do everything on my own and be everything on my own. So fundraising in Portland is obviously difficult, and it's different than it is in other areas like the Bay Area. We looked in Portland, and I would suggest to anybody that they should look in Portland first. But for us, it just wasn't a fit, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make Portland bad. It just means that there's different types of investors in Portland with a different risk tolerance, with a different interest in the type of companies they want to back. So my advice to other companies is to not give up. Give it a try here in Portland, and if you don't find the right investors, that's okay. It's not a bad thing. We don't need to bash anybody or the town or anything like that, but look to where there is a fit. And as we're putting together our round now, that's the one thing that we found is incredibly important to us, is to work with investors that we enjoy working with, that we know will be a partner of ours, not just a paycheck. And that's what I think is most important, is to get someone that's a match. And whether that's Portland, Bay Area, Boston, New York, it really shouldn't matter as long as you find the right fit. Yeah, I think colleges and universities, there are things they can do to help entrepreneurs. There's business fundamentals that you can teach. It's one thing to have an idea and build software. It's another thing to be able to meet payroll every month, or to deal with your attorneys, or understand when you need to patent something and when you don't. So I think there are opportunities there to help equip people that are already entrepreneurs at heart, equip them to be as successful as possible. And another thing is, I think in college, we're encouraged so much to finish and then go out and get a corporate job. And the goal is to get promoted, and then you're the VP, and then after you're the VP, you're the C-level executive, and then you're the chairman, and then you retire, and life is great. And there's probably a lot of people that would be wonderful entrepreneurs, but because they've been indoctrinated into the thought that in America, the way you're successful is by climbing the corporate ladder, some of those people may not have started a company because they've been told their entire life that you have to climb the ladder. So maybe colleges, higher education could work with people in that sense, and let them know that there are a lot of opportunities out there for entrepreneurship. And in fact, most people in America are employed by small businesses, not large businesses anyway. So they can steer them in a different direction, definitely. Yeah, I can take a stab at what Portland's going to be like, but in the future for entrepreneurship, I don't think anyone really knows. But if I had to guess today, the one thing that I've seen is that in the past, Portland was thought of as the creative community, so web developers, graphic artists, and things like that. But when I look at what's happening in Portland, I see more infrastructure and cloud services. So for example, Puppet Labs. As I'm out talking with customers, just about every single one of our potential customers is using Puppet Labs. Then there's companies like PHP Fog, or App Fog as they're now known, and they're going to be branching out into more than just PHP. And they recently took a large second round, and that's really going to help. It's going to help them grow as a company, but it's also going to impact the Portland startup and technology scene as well. So I'd keep an eye out for infrastructure type companies, whether they're cloud or infrastructure management, data center management type stuff.